Happiness is not the end goal. The end goal is to have gone through our lives gathering a specific thing of which I will talk more in detail about later in the video. And this thing now allows us to constantly pursue novel satisfaction, not pleasure, satisfaction. And like I said, later on in the video, I will talk more about what this thing is, what it actually is that's going to allow us to pursue all of this novel satisfaction. If you don't know who I am, my name is Ray, and I have been obsessed with self-improvement, but mainly lifestyle optimization for the past 3.5 years now. Please ignore the red dot that I have going on in my nostril. I cut myself whilst I was shaving, which wasn't very pleasant at all. But if you're somebody who prefers to consume this kind of educational, valuable content as opposed to, the brain rot slop that you'd usually get, definitely consider subscribing. I post multiple videos every single week, and I post shorts daily. So if you like the short form content, I've got that going as well. Up until about 8 months ago now, I was with a girl who I met a few years ago in college. It was actually 3.5 years ago as well. I got into self-improvement and business and lifestyle optimization around the exact same time that I met her. I was really in love with this girl, but whenever we would spend quality time together, I didn't always feel happy. I didn't always feel satisfied. Objectively speaking, the time that we spent together was pleasure. It was comfort with somebody who I loved. But I felt dissatisfied for some reason or another. The reason I felt so dissatisfied was because I had a specific kind of mindset. I'm a man, as you can maybe see. I don't know, you never know these days actually. But I genuinely desire being a provider, being a protector, being very useful and competent to the people I love, especially my girl. And I'm sure you are the same. During this time, I was unemployed and chronically procrastinating from actually building the online business that I wanted to build. Obviously, I was obsessed with self-improvement and lifestyle optimization. That was always going to be the kind of business that I was going to go into. But I had other ideas. I wanted to dropship. I wanted to start an SMMA when that was big. I eventually did actually start a freelance brand scaling agency. But during this time, I wasn't doing anything. No wonder I couldn't enjoy the time with my girl. I felt like a loser. I felt like I wasn't nearly doing enough for her or myself. This was the exact same for when I would go out with friends or spend time with family. Outside of spending time with people I loved, I procrastinated and got nothing done. Then, when I would try and spend time with people I loved, I felt inadequate. I felt undeserving. I believe that men who chase happiness will run and run forever and they'll never catch it. Because happiness is not a state. It's a symptom of the action you're taking, how you're behaving, and of course the circumstances in your life. So true happiness comes from first having people to love, so people who you can love and care for, and people who love you, and then being good at something so that those people who you love and who love you need you for that thing that you are good at. They actually rely on you. True happiness comes from providing for those who we love and feeling like a very important piece of their puzzle. We don't just feel like a side character. Because let's look at the alternatives. One alternative is that you just self-serve. You don't care at all about being useful to anyone else. You spend your life overindulging in short-term pleasures that grant you instant gratification, and then you just feel miserable. You feel miserable, you feel depressed, and you feel like you long for more. Assuming you're way past that level of degeneracy, deviancy, whatever you want to call it, simply because you're watching this kind of content. Some men within this kind of manosphere, self-improvement space, might say that true happiness comes from working, basically until you just drop dead. But then you ask, why is he working? What for, basically? And those who strictly say occupation and just staying busy, they know nothing about human nature. You don't want to listen to these people. because it actually isn't in human nature for the most optimal, most enjoyable life to basically be just you work all the way up until you sleep. Because if that was the case, slaves would have had the most optimal life. Now, if somebody says for their family, nice, we're getting somewhere, right? We're making a bit of progress now. But then you say, what if your family want to spend leisurely time with you? What if your family want to spend quality time with you? Because what then? Like that wouldn't count as work. The man who dismisses his family's very real need for quality time with him, he's the man who's more likely to get cheated on. He's the man who's more likely to be seen as just a piggy bank to his kids, to his community. But the logical man might stop and think, oh yeah, I suppose you're right. So then it must be a mix of, working hard for my community and also spending quality time with my community, both for myself and for my family. So it is most conducive to the flourishing of ourselves and our community that we basically split our time between working hard for our community and spending leisure and pleasure time with them. In conclusion, true happiness for men like me and you, where, we've got this like provider mindset, we've got this hard charger mindset, is constantly being of importance to the people we love, because it's only when that box is ticked that we can tick the other box of feeling satisfied when we spend quality time with them. Why should this be our end goal? Why should building a community who rely on you as a father, as a husband, as a friend, who rely on your skills, your talent, and your way of thinking, why should building that community and then working really hard for them constantly in order to earn the quality time with them in a way be the end goal? Why should that be the end goal? Simply because this is the most conducive to human nature, at the very least masculine human nature. Whether you want to cope and convince yourself otherwise or not, you derive a lot of your value and your sense of meaning off of how much other people want and specifically need you. Everybody does this. We derive most of our value from how useful we are to people, how much people need us, specifically people who we love and care about. This is obviously particularly true when it comes to relationships. If you were made aware that your girl would be perfectly fine without you, you would probably be quite sad, right? That would make you quite sad. It would make you feel quite worthless. And obviously, use comes in many different ways. It comes in many different shapes. I'm not just talking strictly about financial provision or, something like as shallow as that. This is why so many men in the modern age are depressed. This is why so many men cling to video games for a sense of purpose. So many men are just not really good at anything. Their girl could live without them. Their parents, when they eventually get older, they'd be better off just hiring carers to look after them. Their workplace could afford to lose them, right? If their workplace lost them as an employee, they wouldn't be losing any critical skills that they wouldn't be able to just find somewhere else. The feeling of nobody needing you kind of just makes you feel as though people would forget you a lot easier if you died, which is just really depressing. The conclusion here is to delete the idea that just one day after you make all the money and you get the lovely wife and you have kids and you have a fulfilling career that you're just going to be infinitely happy. Delete that idea. It's not going to happen. The resources, toys, and nice assets, they're not going to grant you eternal happiness. Instead, you need to rewire your brain to not just strive for new things, but to strive for becoming more useful, for staying useful, but becoming more useful, becoming a better father, becoming a better husband, becoming a better man and leader for your community. This will keep you constantly satisfied. If you instead choose to derive satisfaction from pleasure, you will just become self-serving and you'll become a complete degenerate. If you decide to derive satisfaction solely from working, which is like level 2, level 1 is like satisfaction comes from video games, satisfaction comes from the bad habits, whatever. Level 2 is satisfaction comes from just working, basically until I drop dead. If you decide to derive your satisfaction from level 2, you're just going to become a mule to the people who don't love you and don't care about you, the CEOs, the bosses, whatever. and then you're going to just become a piggy bank to the people who do love you and do care about you. I would usually have a section for practical execution, like some practical action steps that you can take at this part of the video, but the only action that I can advise is long-term action. Building your skills would be the first thing. I'm not just talking career-wise, I'm talking about your love skills. I'm talking about your emotional intelligence. I'm talking about your competence. The second thing would be get working every single day. Make it a habit every day you're working. Maybe you already do, maybe you have a job that requires you to work every day, but every day work. Accumulate a level of wealth, whether it be a lot or a little bit, whatever you want. Work for those who you love most. Third thing would be to spend quality time within your community, build your relationships. If you are like a super hard charging man, you're obsessed with working, you want to stay busy constantly, I would recommend seeing building relationships as just like another stat to level up. It's kind of like, you can imagine you're at a video game, it's just another side quest to complete. Obviously, that's not the best way to look at it. Obviously, that's not the way you should look at it forever. You should sort of condition yourself to want that time, but just to help you out for now. Stop chasing happiness. Instead, become a competent man. Work hard every day for your community and spend quality time with them. You will forever be satisfied as long as you are useful to the people you care most about. Like and engage with the video in some way. Subscribe if you find value in what I have to teach. Send this video to your family group chat, because why not? Goodbye.